Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brit.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going over 9 things you need to know before purchasing your first home.
Yeah, so Brit and I are in our first home right now. We built this home from the ground up. It took us about 5 months from start to finish. And even though we did a lot of research in the process and before we even started building, we learned a lot of things along the way. Some things caught us off guard. And there were some things that we found out that we had no idea were even possible when building a home.
And our hope is by the time you're done watching, you'll be a little bit more prepared both mentally and financially for buying your first home.
So that being said, let's get into it.
So number 1, don't just shop around for the best interest rate, look at the total cost to close.
Yeah, so typically when you hear about why it's good to shop different lenders and price compare different lenders when buying a home, that usually has to do with the interest rate. The interest rate is just one part of the equation. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about total cost to close. And if your lender knows what they're doing, they will give you a breakdown, including the interest rate, when they're giving you an estimate on about how much your monthly price will be and like closing costs and everything like that. So interest rate does play a part of that, but there are also fees that lenders have just so they can make money. There are attorney's fees and a bunch of things that go into the total cost to close. And in Brittany's, in my case, when we were initially shopping around lenders, I think we were looking at 3 or 4.
Yep.
And we eventually narrowed that down to 2 lenders. We'll just call them Lender 1 and Lender 2. Lender 1's interest rate was a little bit higher than Lender 2's was. However, the total cost to close for Lender 2 was like $3,000 or $4,000 more expensive than the total cost to close for Lender 1. What we did was we went with Lender 1 because our total cost to close was going to be a lot less expensive, and we just bought down the interest rate a little bit and still came out ahead.
Right.
If we were to have gone with Lender 2 with the lower interest rate, the interest rate was only lower like 0.2% maybe, 0.15, 0.2%. It wasn't all that much.
Yeah, it was a very small amount.
Yeah. If we had gone with Lender 2, it would have taken us many years into the future to kind of break even, comparing had we gone with Lender 1, if that makes sense.
And also, it just depends on how long you're going to be in the house, when you plan on selling. So there's other factors that can come into play when looking at different mortgages.
So long story short, don't just look at the interest rate. That's only one part of the equation. Look at everything involved in what your monthly payment's going to be if you're getting a mortgage and the total cost to close on the home.
Number 2, get a feel for the neighborhood and area you're looking to buy in at different times of the day and on weekends.
A house is a very big commitment, both in terms of finances and in terms of time. The last thing you'd want to have happen is to move into a neighborhood that you think is safe just because the only time you've seen it is during the day, and then at night there's a bunch of stuff happening that you don't like at all. And let's just assume that there's not a bunch of crime and things happening at night. It's a pretty safe neighborhood that you're in, or a pretty safe area that you're researching. You still want to research it at different times of the day because, well, during the day, people are going to be at work. They're going to be back home in the evening and at nighttime. And you may be looking at a particular lot or house in a neighborhood that has people behind it who throw parties every night and they're up until 2 in the morning. You know, you won't know this unless you research that area at that time of day, evening, after work, and onward, especially on the weekends. And Brittany and I were not the best at doing this when we purchased the lot that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Although our neighborhood is incredible. We love our neighbors and the neighborhood itself. Our neighborhood backs up to a street that is not part of our neighborhood. And so we have a few houses behind our home that are not part of the neighborhood we're in. And a couple of those neighbors, when we first got here, they were very nosy and they would poke their head up at the fence and peek into our house, and it was very awkward.
That was weird.
They wouldn't come up to our house, they would just kind of like
Look around.
It was very strange. And we started having trash thrown into our backyard from their side of the street. And there's also another house that has a bunch of dogs. I think they have 4 or 5 dogs. They never go inside, it seems like. And they bark a lot. And it led to a lot of awkward conversations when Brit and I first moved in that we didn't really want to have.
Yeah.
And if we had done a better job researching this lot at nighttime and evening time.
And on weekends.
And on the weekends, we would have figured that out pretty quickly, and we may not have chose this lot. We could have bought 5 lots down, and this wouldn't be a problem at all. That being said, all those things have been taken care of, and things are better now. But it's a hassle that Brittany and I ran into that we could have avoided had we done more research. Okay, the third thing that you need to know when buying your first home, and this only applies if you're buying new construction, is that you need to expect things to go wrong because they will go wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of things will go wrong.
And it's okay if this happens. Just speak up about it as soon as you see it.
There are a million things that go into building a house. I mean, from foundation to framing to getting permits, electrical, plumbing. It would be almost impossible for things to go 100% correct the entire time. And in Brittany's and my case, there were quite a number of things that went wrong. And you guys can watch our house buying vlogs up here. I'll link those up here if you're interested. We go through a number of them. There were a lot of small things that went wrong, and there were a few
big things.
Yeah, quite large things that went wrong as well, including this area back here. This area was not supposed to be here at all in our house.
It's supposed to come in more.
So, and this has to do with like the foundation of the home. So
that's something is not a very easy undo.
Yeah.
After the foundation's laid, poured, and dried.
Yeah, so like right off the bat, as soon as construction started on Brittany's and my home, it was like there was this huge mistake that was made. It was fixable, but it could cause issues had we tried to fix it. So we just left it like it was. So anyways, I mean, it gave us more square footage. So yeah, mistakes will happen. The most important thing to do when those things happen is to address it as soon as possible with the builder.
Yeah.
If you notice the mistake as soon as they happen, or very, very close to when they happen, it's super simple to fix, bearing that they're not foundational issues with
or
the home.
Structural.
Yeah, but the longer you wait, the more difficult it's going to be to fix, and the more risk potentially there is of it making the building process take longer or it affecting other parts of the home in a negative way.
Even though there were several things that went wrong, our builder was super nice and helpful and wanted to make things right. So he corrected everything and worked with us through the entire process.
Yeah, even gave us some free stuff along the way too.
Yeah. Number 4 has to do with new construction as well. Only upgrade where it makes sense to do so. So, for example, we spent more in bathrooms and kitchens because we know that's where you'll get a bigger return on your money.
What you don't want to do is overbuild your house for the neighborhood you're building in, or for the area that you're building in. The base price of Brittany's and my house was about $250,000, I think. The last thing we would want to do is spend $50,000 upgrading our master bathroom. There'd be no way we get all of that money back. No way at all. Although if we had done that, we would have had a spectacular master bathroom. Very enjoyable for the time that Brittany and I are going to be living here. We're just going to be losing money over the long run, and that's not something we want to do.
Right.
It's so tempting to spend a lot of money in upgrades, and this is a hard one to be disciplined about because you know, you want the nicest house to live in as possible, but at the same time, you also don't want to be losing money over the long term. So only upgrade as much as it makes sense to do so for the area.
And when you have a realtor with you, they can help you out a lot too.
Yeah.
And ours did as well.
Yeah. All right, number 5 is to save every single document, every single email and text, etc. as you can. And the reason for doing this is because you want to keep a paper trail of everything that's going on. This is also good for legal purposes. Worst case scenario, something comes up and legally you need a document for something. And this is something you should do regardless of whether you're building new construction from the ground up like Brittany and I did, or whether you're buying a pre-owned home.
In our case, when we were building this house, we had 2 extra what we call job orders, where there are things you can add to the construction or little upgrades here and there that we got for free. And there was one occasion where one of them was either misplaced or they mixed it up with another job order. So because we had a copy of it, we were able to show them and say, hey, this is what we need to have done. And if we had not have kept that, it could have caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah, or it could have cost us more money.
Right.
They probably would have found it eventually because
they probably would have.
the builder keeps everything as well. But this did cause a lot of confusion initially for both us and the realtors we were working with. And thankfully, Brittany and I had the original job order with everything on it that needed to be done, and all of our signatures at the bottom. So once we found it, it was good. If you're buying already owned, if you're buying pre-owned, documents and emails and things like that would have a lot more to do with the contract on the home. And your real estate agent is obviously going to be diligent about keeping track of everything and making sure everything's in order, and that's that sort of thing. There's also a lot that happens when buying a new home, whether it's pre-owned or new construction, and it's overwhelming a lot of the time, or it was for Brittany and I.
Yeah.
And it's really easy for things to get forgotten about or lost in translation. So keeping the emails and texts and everything like that, communications together, gives you an easy way of looking back and figuring out, okay, did we say this was going to happen or did we not? Did we say this was going to be added or not added, or this was going to be taken out or not taken out? It gives you a reference for yourself to help you remember what's going on, so you don't have to try and get in touch with the builder every 5 minutes.
So number 6, we learned there's an alternative to refinancing called recasting your loan. And this is something we didn't have any idea about, and something we learned from our realtor.
So there's a lot of talk going on about refinancing your mortgage to get a lower interest rate. We haven't heard anybody talk about recasting up until we spoke with the lender that we got for our mortgage on this home. Recasting is a process where you can buy the home initially with a certain amount of down payment or whatever, and then after 6 months, a year, or however much time, a semi-long period of time, you can put a chunk of money toward the mortgage, and the lender can do what's called recasting the loan, which will work in this extra principal chunk you just paid into your monthly payment and lower your monthly payment.
Or lower the term of your loan.
And that's actually Brittany's and my plan with this house, or it was initially. We bought this home with a little over 10% down, and our plan was after a year to put another $25,000, $30,000 down toward principal and have the lender recast our loan to lower our monthly payment. Our interest rate doesn't change,
right,
but our monthly payment would be lower, and we'd have a bunch more money put toward principal. This is a lot less expensive to do than refinancing. With refinancing, you have to pay closing costs and everything. It's basically like getting another mortgage. So everything that's associated with getting a mortgage, you have to pay when you refinance. With recasting, what we were told is it's like a few $100, $200 or $300, something like that. Interest rate doesn't change, but if you're putting a bunch more principal down toward the mortgage, you're going to be paying less in interest anyway.
And just make sure if you do have a mortgage on your home, just check to make sure they do recast the loan.
Yeah. Not all lenders will do this, but from the people that we've spoken with,
a majority will.
Yeah. If your case is similar to Brittany's and mine was when we were purchasing this home, we really wanted to put 20% down to get rid of PMI. We just didn't have the cash funds available, and we didn't have the time to save up for that because we were one of the last builds in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
If we had waited until Brittany and I had 20% to put down on the home, we wouldn't have been able to move in here. That's why our plan was to just put 10% down initially and then put another 10 or so percent down a year from now, because by then we will have been able to save up the extra 10% and comfortably put it toward the mortgage and get a monthly payment that would have been the same as if we put 20% down initially. So if you think that you may want to do this or it could work for you, at some point in the future, just keep this in mind as an option.
Number 7, don't max out your budget. So for us, we were approved for about 40% of our take-home pay, and that was just going to be way too much money to be spending on a house. So for us, we kept our monthly payment to around 25% of our take-home pay, and for us, this was a lot more reasonable, and we wanted to be able to put ourselves in a good spot financially. If just one of us was working, we could still make our payment comfortably for the house. Yeah. And thankfully we did this because this happened right before the pandemic hit.
It is extremely easy to max out your budget when it comes to getting a mortgage. If you're getting a mortgage for your house, if you're not paying in cash. I've personally had a loan for 40% of my take-home pay. It was one of the worst mistakes I've ever made financially in my life. We would strongly recommend not doing this. It's going to make your life very difficult financially. It's not going to allow you the breathing room that you need to make other decisions in your life when it comes to your money. It's really not the best path to go down financially. Our recommendation, and obviously this is your money, you can do whatever you want, but our recommendation would be to keep your monthly payment, keep your loan amounts at a level that makes you very comfortable financially, because it's super tempting to max out everything and just get this nice house to live in. And everybody wants a nice house to live in, but you got to be disciplined enough to allow yourself the freedom to do other things with your money so you can take care of your future and not just live in the present in this extravagant house. Like, you want to have the freedom to invest so your future's taken care of. You may want to have some extra money to spend on yourself or your friends or your family members or whatever. You may want to have some extra money to give to other people who are in need. And if you have a house that's making you house poor, where all of your money is going to your house and just the bare necessities that you need to survive, nothing else is going to be possible.
Number 8, New construction homes come with a warranty, and if you buy a pre-owned home, you can purchase a warranty for it as well. And if you do, we highly recommend taking advantage of that.
In Brittany's and my case, there are already 3 or 4 things that have broken is the wrong word, but have needed to be fixed on our home, which is only 4 months old.
Right.
And it's been super easy to take care of through our warranty system. We just put in a request on the website. That gets sent into the builder, and the builder sends people to come out and fix it.
Yep.
It's that simple. And on new construction homes, a warranty is pretty much standard on everything. There's 99.999% of the things in our house have a warranty on it. So if it breaks, it's not our problem, at least for the first year or 2. On pre-owned homes, if you're looking for a home that's already been lived in, you can purchase a warranty on it. And there are, different tiers, and basically the sky's the limit in terms of how much you want a warranty on. But my sister just did this with her home. She just bought a home. I think it's about 30 years old. I think she got some sort of limited warranty on it, just in case she experienced any issues with it while she was moving in, the few months after she moved in.
It's actually come in handy for her. She's already been able to use it and get things fixed under that warranty. Yeah.
Obviously, you'll want to weigh the cost of the warranty against the potential of things breaking and how much you would be paying out of pocket to fix those yourself. You're gonna have to do a lot more research on a pre-owned home in terms of like the risk of things breaking and how much those things are gonna cost versus if it's gonna be worth you spending a bunch of money on a warranty up front. Okay, so the 9th and final thing that we're gonna mention in this video is that if you're buying a house, whether it's a new construction or pre-owned, lawn maintenance is expensive.
Yeah.
If you're buying a house that has lawn maintenance covered in the HOA, that's probably why the HOA is so expensive. If you're buying a house that does not have an HOA that includes lawn maintenance, expect to be paying a lot of money in some form or another for lawn maintenance, whether that's buying the equipment to maintain your yard yourself or paying somebody else to do all the work for you. In Brittany's and my case, we've been paying other people to do it for us because we'd rather spend our time working on YouTube stuff and developing a bunch of passive income sources and getting back to Hawaii.
We want to free up as much time as we can, basically.
Yeah. So we have a guy that comes out to mow our lawn. It's $35 per visit. We're going to be spending a lot more money mowing our lawn in the summertime than we are in the wintertime. But there's also pest control you have to pay for. So we have people coming out and spraying for bugs and things like that every other month. We also have people coming out and spraying for weeds every other month. So in total, on a monthly basis, Brittany and I have calculated everything. It's about $100 a month for all of that. And our HOA is already like $40 a month, and that covers common areas and a few other things. So if we were to have lawn maintenance included in the HOA, then the HOA for the neighborhood would probably be like $150 a month, which is kind of opened my eyes to HOAs and things like that. Even though I'm on the fence about an HOA, I'm not really sure what to think about them. There are some pros about them. There are some things I really don't like about them. It's given me a new understanding about why HOA fees can sometimes be so expensive, because they, at least just for the yard, I mean, that's like $100 a month, everything included. And then, some neighborhoods add a roof and things like roof maintenance.
Or the exterior of the home, or the townhome, condominium, whatever type of home you're living in. It's
super easy for that number just to go up very, very quickly when you start adding more things that need to be maintained on a regular basis. So anyways, if you're buying a new house, whether it's new construction or pre-owned, expect to pay a lot of money in yard maintenance if it's not already included in the HOA. So with that being said, you guys, those are the 9 things that we've come up with that we feel like people need to know when they're buying their first house. Things that we've learned from experience, things that have caught us off guard, things that we learned throughout the process, and things that we just had no idea were even possible when it comes to buying a home.
Yep.
We hope this was informative and helpful. If it was, please give this video a huge thumbs up. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm tremendously.
Also follow us on Instagram. It's Mike and Brit.
Yep, we have an account there. If you're on IG, then consider looking us up. Our budget template is in the description if you budget on a monthly basis or you're thinking about it. Our budget template is basically like how we budget our money every month. It's a free download, no email address required. Also, our Robinhood link is in the description if you're thinking about investing or want to get into investing your money. Click on that link, you get a free stock, we get a free stock, it helps out everybody. That being said, thanks so much again for watching, guys. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.